And here we go in the studio. Kathy Holman, Prairie Wife in heels. Roger, she's wearing heels.
I am.
Okay.
So no more of that. She actually is.
Okay.
I would like
nice
to say
cheetah
too,
print on
yes,
it. Yeah,
they're
okay.
cheetah print heels, because what else would be perfect on a snowy day like this than 4-inch cheetah heel booties?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
To slip and slide all around. Okay.
I wear them all the time, so.
I feel like we should do a twinning picture next time.
I
Let's
think
plan
so.
that.
I think so.
Okay, well, get a little theme music going on here. Taking care of business, who does what around your home? What's the delegation of duties around there? So we put up posts on the K2 radio page and also on my Facebook page, and got quite a lot of response about, what is it that you do around the house? What are your duties, and are you happy about it? And we got some very interesting responses.
There are some people that are definitely not happy
No,
about it.
they're not happy about it at all. So I'm going to start here. Well, Frank, I guess you're kind of just out of this conversation being the single guy, and we had some of those responses. It's like, I do everything.
Yeah,
'cause
I
I'm the
do.
only
I
one
do
around.
everything. So
So you can listen and just chime in when you
Frank,
want.
do you hire anyone to come in and help, or do you literally just handle it all?
no, my mother comes in and cleans though.
Your mom does?
Yeah, and she lives in Chicago.
I hope you at least cover her airfare and ensure there are no children on the plane.
Yes.
Yeah.
She
Oh.
won't take it either because, and that's another subject. We'll get
Yeah,
into.
no, we're not going there today. So, Roger, what is it you guys do around the house?
Well, she is she handles all the cooking, obviously, because I can barely boil water, and I make sure the cars are all running and the garage, the lawn, the usual stuff. So
So it's a
yeah,
very,
it's pretty much an indoor-outdoor thing.
quote, traditional
Yeah,
kind of thing. And
yeah, I must say.
And we're mostly talking about two-person households here
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
So, and I think, Kathy, isn't that what we found with a lot of the responses that we got, is that a lot of it is sort of along those sort of traditional lines where, the women in the family are taking care of the kids, they're taking care of the household chores.
Appointments.
Yeah, the appointments, making, the bills, it kind of depends. Some people are poolers, some people are splitters, and
My husband pays, I write the check.
I see how that works. And I kind of take care of, I'm the chief financial officer in my home too. But, we got some very interesting responses. And, just reading one of them, Jody wrote, and we both loved this
Yeah,
one.
this was my favorite.
We have fairly traditional roles in our house, and it works. Each role is needed, and when you're both busy taking care of business, there is no room to worry about who's working harder. So, I mean, what do you comment on that?
I know, other than amazing attitude that we should all follow, right? Like, so when we were talking about this, something that came to mind for me as a woman in Wyoming, a lot of us have husbands who travel. So I definitely, especially where I'm a stay-at-home, work-from-home mom, I handle the childcare, the appointments, getting kids to and from school, homework issues, cooking, cleaning, laundry, all that stuff. But when your husband's gone 5 days a week and something's broken on your car, your battery runs out because your beautiful children left a door open and you didn't notice, I'm the one that has to jump the car. So there is some influx with that. And I also wholeheartedly admit that when he is home, I'm like, see you later, sucker. And he's taking care of dinner and bath time and everything like that. So I think that's something unique. And also, I'm the one that's feeding horses when he's gone. No one else, the kids are getting older and can do it. But I think that's one of the things about Wyoming where we do have so many partners that have to travel is, we're hardy stock, us Wyoming Prairie Wives.
And I think that's a lot of what we found too, is a lot of it depends on the schedules. I mean, I know my husband and I have wacky schedules. I mean, I get up at 4 a.m. I wake him up on the way out the door. Bye, honey. Maybe I'll see you for 15 minutes today, And he's in rehearsal now for a show, so he's gone every night. So it really comes down to who's around, for things getting done. So, if you're around and you have the energy, you're the one who does the cooking. If you're the one who ran out of underwear and you need some, then you're the one who does the laundry. And then we get the boys in. They of course have their chores that they may or may not do.
Wait. Your kids have chores, and they do them?
Yes, they do. Yeah, we'll talk later. I'll give you some handy.
See, Mary's job is to make work.
Oh,
Do you want to send her out to my house? My kids they feed horses, chicken chores, cats, and dogs before they even go out the door in the morning for school. They were out there in boots and pajamas this morning getting fresh eggs, which Frank has some now.
And and she would be happy to stand there on her phone while they do that.
Oh, no service out where we live.
Oh.
so and we had some fellas weigh in too. Tom said, "I do all the cooking, dishes, and clean the house. Also working all 7 nights, but changes coming soon."
I feel like we need to say dun dun dun,
Dun, dun,
with the changes coming soon. You know, Joy, and this is another one of my favorite comments. She talked about how they do kind of have the traditional roles, but she says most importantly, we try to recognize what the other one does and thank them once in a while. And I feel like that's the key. I know when I start feeling bitter and angry and I call it the fishwife, where you're like,
You do that well.
We were joking before. I was like, if my husband puts the wet towel on the bed one more time. But, you have to speak up, right? That's something I really wanted to say, is you have to speak up. We all have certain moments in life where what was totally doable before is suddenly not doable anymore, whether it's because you have a new baby or it's just a season in life where you're just feeling overwhelmed. Or
your schedule has changed just for a short period of time.
Like you said right now, your husband is, spending all that time at those late night Hell Week rehearsals. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on the radio.
Yeah,
sorry.
Okay,
there goes my opportunity. But you have to speak up. You have to say, I need help. And I say this with the utmost love. Women, you have to say it in black and white. Don't beat around the bush and say, I'm tired of doing dishes. Oh, it would be nice if someone did dishes. Make sure they are looking at you in the eye and say, do the dishes Thursday night.
Because they're not mind readers, and I think that we think they are.
Or we want them to be.
We want them to be. It's
we
like,
do.
They should notice that I'm so tired that
They
I
won't.
just can't do that. No,
No.
it's a little more straightforward than that. I think. And another thing that you and I have discussed that I think that, and I'm making some sweeping generalizations here, but that we of the female sex are guilty of, is that we want them to help, but then we don't like the way they do it. Right? So I had a friend of mine who she complained all the time, my husband doesn't help me with the dishes. He won't even unload the dishwasher. 2 days later, I hear, well, he unloaded the dishwasher, but he didn't put the Tupperware away properly. He didn't have the lids stacked the right way with this
Poor
and that
guy,
and the other
darned
thing.
if he does, darned if he doesn't.
And who knows, maybe he planned it that way. That would be a smart thing.
Passive aggressive.
But,
right?
When it comes down to it is that if we ask for help, if we're going to be that specific about stuff, then you need to include that in the request. But if someone is helping, it's not a good thing for us, and this goes both ways, to criticize or be criticized for what we are trying to do. I know I've gone out and tried to mow the lawn before when everybody was gone, and what I tend to get is, oh, thank you, honey. I mean,
but
does it look good?
do
No,
it again.
but I don't get the don't do it again. But I haven't done it since then because it miraculously gets done. But
that's
the dishwasher
file that
story
away.
that I told Kathy is we have this kind of ongoing battle about how to load the dishwasher, because I learned to load it a certain way and Rich learned to load it a different way.
Which I'm just saying, I'm on Susan's side.
Well, so every time, I start loading the dishwasher, and then when he comes in to put more dishes in, bless his heart for putting dishes in the dishwasher, he'll change it all around and say, oh, well, I'm going to put this up here and the glasses down there and whatever. And then I go and I look and I come in the next time and I go, oh, okay, well, I got to rearrange these plates and these are supposed to go up here. And instead of fighting about it over the years, we had a couple of moments of about it, but it lasted about that long, Now it's kind of a game. And it's like whoever puts the last dish in wins, because then you get to load it the way you want to, that you think is the right way to load it, right? So sometimes you just have to come to an agreement about these kinds of things.
Well, and you learn, I think, what's more important and what's not. So, for example, for those of you that are just tuning in or don't know my history, I have 5 children. They're all 2 years apart. And when my first son was born, I am totally guilty of that mom with one kid thing. His bibs had to match his shoes, had to match his outfit. He had to have a bath every single day. Mm-hmm. So then every once in a while I'd say to my husband, hey, can you get him dressed? We have to go to church. He would get him dressed. And of course it would just be, I'm sure you guys can imagine. We're talking camouflage and plaid, no shoes, no socks. And so I would go back and change. And finally, my husband said, do you want me to do this or not? Either let it be okay the way I do it or just do it yourself. And, at first I was really upset, but then the more I thought about it, I felt he had every right to be irritated with me on that. The going back and redoing what they've done. Like I said, darned if they do and darned if they don't. But there's a lot of things you learn to let go. Like we always.
Oh, you have to.
Right? Now that I have 5 kids. I mean, are they wearing clothes today? Overrated.
Do they have socks? Not do the socks
match?
match?
Yeah. And even, I mean, no one can tell if they're wearing socks when they have cowboy boots on, right?
Right.
Makes those arguments over how to load the dishwasher pretty petty.
Oh my gosh,
That's
right? In the end, if everyone in our house is loved and fed, it is an A+ day. Anything above and beyond that is a few extra gold stars.
That's icing on the cake.
But it really, it seems like, especially from the comments, that most of it is, did I read Jennifer's already? I don't think so. We delegate things nearly 50-50 at our house. If something needs to be done, our motto is just do it. No scorekeeping makes for a healthy marriage and family life. So that's something to aspire to, and good for you, Jennifer. It doesn't always work that way. But we did read a lot of bitter comments and a lot of people who just are not
sad.
happy.
That's why I had to throw in there, sit them down and have a conversation, because it's little things like that eat away at your happiness. We were talking about that 2 weeks ago at our last show. Are you fulfilled? Where's your balance? And it's amazing how if you're not coming home to a relaxed, healthy environment, how it bleeds into everything.
Right.
And little things like that, the little petty over the dishwasher and the laundry. I mean, sometimes they're funny. Like, I do not fold. I am a wad and stuffer. I'm sure there are listeners cringing right now, but I am. I'm a wad and stuffer. I do 11 loads of laundry a week. I don't fold. And my husband is the typical cowboy where he wants the crease down the middle of his Wranglers, absolutely perfect. And one time I was wadding and stuffing his jeans, and he was like, "Hey, do you want me to show you how to fold those?" And I looked him in the eye. Keep in mind, I was grossly pregnant with at least our 3rd or 4th kid. I looked him in the eye, put the jeans on the ground, proceeded to do the twist on them, and left the room. And we have he's never criticized the wad and stuff.
Well, he could
process
fold
sense.
them
A little
himself.
harsh.
Our stuff gets folded sometimes. When it gets folded, it gets put away sometimes. But you're talking about letting things go, and
Yep.
it's like I've got true confessions here.
You know what I don't get is folding underwear.
Thank you.
Why do people do that?
Why fold anything, really, Roger?
You're going to wear it under your pants, I mean.
because it fits better in the drawer.
No, wad and stuff.
Oh, you throw them in there and you got
Thank
a
you,
pile of
Roger.
underwear in there.
Roger, I'm high-fiving you through the
Oh,
studio
yeah. I
wall.
just,
I'm going to have to learn
that
to
one I
let
don't
go of
get.
this one, I guess.
Think of
But,
how much time you'll save when you do the wad and stuff. There's listeners right now that
Exactly.
I am giving permission to have an extra hour of their life back because they're like, "Hey, Prairie Wife said wad and stuff works."
I can hit the drawer from across the room with a good free throw.
That is
So-
great. I need to start telling my kids to do that.
There you are. Basketball practice and laundry and the same thing.
That's right. That's right. Which, speaking of, I would just like to say my kids all put their own laundry away. Even the 3-year-old does pretty much
Wad and
everything
stuff?
herself. Yeah, that
Okay.
because those of you that have kids and are listening, they dig through the drawer to pull out what they want anyway. So the clothes never stay folded. So why not just give them the laundry basket and let them stuff it in the right drawer, and there you go.
There you go.
There you
Problem
go.
solved.
Yeah.
Okay, I should be taking notes here. So.
I'm telling
It's not
ya.
just the kids that do that, by the way. The older kids do. So
Yeah,
your kids are all
like those older kids in their 60s.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Your oldest is
12 and my
12.
youngest is 3, and it goes on. But my 12-year-old and my 10-year-old, they both do all their own laundry, including washing and drying. And then my 7-year-old and 5-year-old, they grab their laundry baskets, take it down to their room, and put all their laundry away. Because wad and stuff, baby.
Well, I
Wad
got
and stuff.
17 and 22, and so we're still working on all
We
this
need to maybe
kind
just
of
have
stuff,
you guys
so.
send your kids to my place, and we can come up with a fee there, and I'll just teach them all these life skills.
You've got stuff to shovel out of the stables, right?
Oh, I do.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do. And
I'm
we have a
liking
new
this.
German Shepherd puppy. We've got lots of things that'll
okay.
keep people busy picking up.
Well, one of the last things, because we're running up, we've done it again. We've eaten up all the time. So,
sad.
our friend Cliff wrote, "We both hate housework, and so we do it together. Although for the most part, we do our own laundry. She focuses more on the details, and I get to do the heavier stuff or the stuff that is up high. But together is the main thing." So, there you go. Together, 50-50 split. That seems to be, I think what it boils down to is it sort of depends on who you are, who your partner is,
Yep.
what kind of relationship you have,
Yep.
and what your expectations are and whether they're being met. Another one of our friends, Cynthia, wrote that she does a lot of the work around the house, but she says, "Well, I work from home, so I think it's fair."
Agreed.
So that's fine. And who are you or I or anybody else to go and say, "No, that's not. Oh, no, you need to do that." Man, it's their relationship. If
Do
it
what works best. Yep, for your
best.
family.
Okay.
That's my mantra. Do what works best for your family.
Okay, very good. Kathy Holman, Prairie Wife in heels, 4-inch heels with a cheetah on it, little booties out in the
3
snow.
inches of snow.
Thank you so much for joining us, and then we'll get together and figure out what we're going to do because we'll be here every Friday at 9:15. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure having you in, and thank you for the coffee. Oh,
I appreciate
white chocolate.
it.
Here, we'll get that on
Yeah,
camera.
right. Little city
white
brew,
chocolate mocha from
my
City
favorite.
Brew.
Thank you so
Okay.
much for having me on, guys and listeners. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day.
Okay.